Hi everyone, I'm Harley D and today we're going to be making bass like this. And bass like this. Okay, so let's get straight into it then. So to start off with then, what I'm going to do is just give you a quick play of this, this little idea that I've been working on. So yeah, I'll just play it from here. Hold on a second. So yeah, that's the two different basses we're going to be going over today. I'll just solo up this first one we're going to have a listen to. Sorry, that we're going to go over. So as you can hear, they're quite versatile basses. They work well in sort of like JumpUp productions, and yeah, they also work well in like more minimal, darker productions as well. So it's quite a versatile bass to learn. So yeah, I'm going to be showing you how to make these and use them effectively in the track in terms of getting the mix right of them. So yeah, that's with the processing on. What I'm going to do is turn that processing off now and just show you how it's made in Serum. What it sounds like, sorry, just coming out of Serum. So that's the sound in Serum. As you can hear, it's pretty much the same, except it's got a bit more saturation, distortion with the noise being layered up. So it creates more of a thicker sound and a bit more harmonic depth to the sound. So it fits well in the mix more. So yeah, we'll have a look at that after. But what I'm going to do is just show you the MIDI notes I'm working with. I'm using the E minor chord. So I've got the notes of A1, G1 and F sharp 1 there, and it goes down to E1. But yeah, in terms of Serum, so what I'll be doing is leaving the presets. I'll put them up on Patreon for any Patreon members. And then you can just follow the processing and sort of learn that way. If not, just we'll have a look at how this Serum patch is being made now. So yeah, I've got two sine waves. I'm using the analog BD sine waves. And one of them is set down to minus, I'll just show you the folder there. So yeah, -1 octave and +2 octaves there on the second one. And to start off with, the first thing I'm going to be doing is actually turning off all the effects, just so you can hear what it sounds like without the effects on. So that's the sort of tone we're generating. If I turn the filter off, there you can hear the sort of tone we're generating. So let's have a look. The master's set to 70% there. And I've got FM from B on oscillator A, and that's set to 32. And now both of these have got the random phase turned off, the wavetail position set to 1. And the level of oscillator A is set to, let's have a quick look, 59%. And it's 75% on the volume of oscillator B. So yeah, that's all going through to this filter, the low pass filter, the 12 dB octave slope one. And this is going to be important because this is going to shape our sound. So the cutoff starts at 19. And if we have a look at what LFO1, because LFO1's being sent to that, it's going up by 63. So LFO1, we're going to use this sort of shape here. We're going to put it on trigger mode and set the rate to 2.6. So that's going to help shape our sound now, that tone we had. I got the resonance set to 10. The drive's not on, the fat's not on, the mix is set to full. But yeah, if we was to open this up here, this line here, this is going to give us more of a prolonged, more sliding sort of sound, whereas this makes it a bit more precise. And yeah, that's pretty much how everything's being set up on the main page in terms of the oscillators and the filter. Let's have a look at this this effects channel. So first thing I would do is run it through the tube distortion. I've only got it going through about 26% here on the drive, so it's not too much. It's just going to add a little bit more harmonic saturation in there. And then I'm going to be running, the next thing I'll do is run it into the chorus, because I'm not going to be putting this compressor on multi-band mode. So let's just put this in the chorus. I would put it on the high pass frequency, normally high pass filter, sorry, but I've got it on the low pass filter and it seems to be working quite nice. So the mix is 24%. The feedback's at 10. The the depth's at 26 milliseconds, and the rate is at 0.08. And the delay 1 and delay 2 set to 0, 5 milliseconds on delay 1 there. So yeah, I would normally put that on high pass filter there. So what I'm going to do is actually change that because that might be affecting the sub. So I'm going to drop that down to about, probably go between 110 hertz there. There we go. And then I'm going to put the compressor on. It's not really doing anything, so you don't need to use that. And the main thing here is going to be using this reverb filter. So it really sort of like distorts it together a bit more. I've got the cutoff set to 7,909. It's probably just because we're driving up with a bit of resonance. So yeah, the resonance is set to 20 and the drive is at 17. So if I was to turn that drive down. So it just does something this filter does actually. It sort of brings it all together a bit more if you have the cutoff a bit higher. So yeah, that's the settings for that. So yeah, that really does help push it through. And that's just the patch essentially. And then we can have a look at the post-processing. Okay, so let's have a look at this post-processing then. To start off with, I'm going to be using texture. And I'm going to be using the digital white noise. And I'm just going to use this filter here to select a sort of band of this noise. So if we just have a quick little listen. So yeah, I'm just really selecting between the 6 to sort of like 12K region. And then it's rolling off around that. And I've just brought the color down a little bit. And the mix is at 90% dry. So I'm only leaving a little bit of this noise coming through. So it's 10% wet essentially. And the point of this using texture is to sort of like shape it around the signal how I want. And I'm going to be doing that with the gate and the attack. So if you have a little listen, you can see the noise is only really layering on top of the signal when we get that sort of spike in that 250 hertz. So if I was to bring the gate down, the noise will just continuously follow through the signal. And also with the attack, if I was to bring that down, it would be too sharp as it comes in. So just increasing the attack to 123 and messing around with the gate until it kind of hits the signal how I want it to. And I brought the decay down to 35. So that's how I have got the noise to layer up nicely with this signal. I've not done anything else there. And then I've gone back and put a Denise noise before it. So this is to have a bit of noise that runs through the whole signal. Let's just play that now. Oh, it's not the right plugin. So it's going to be quite subtle. And it's just sitting underneath it. And the full's at 8%, the mix at 22, high pass filters at 2.6K. And I'm using the smile feature function. And the series at 52. So yeah, that's just to add like a constant layer of noise underneath it. And then what I would do after that is just put a clipper at the end of my chain. And I'm not going to be pushing the input or output of that. It's just going to be using it as a clipper to set it at 0 dB. And I'm going to use my EQs now to push frequencies into it or take them away. And I'll be doing this in stages as I sort of like progress the mix as well. So the first one, I'm just going to be pushing up the sub-region around about 6 dB, 5.5 dB, and then just rolling it off by like 9 dB from 20 hertz to 0 hertz. So that's just to get a better sub balance and create a bit more of a stronger signal to start off with. And then I'm going to use another EQ here to create another low end boost around about 2 dB. But this is more of a broad stroke here, so it covers more of the frequency range because I'm not just using one note. And I think I noticed that this frequency range was a bit too much just when I was at this stage, and I've just wanted to drop this down by like 1.5 dB, around about 250 hertz here. And I think I had the chorus on low pass filter, but because I've turned it to high pass filter now, it shouldn't be an issue. But because I did put this this low cut on the sides. So to remove any stereo information out of the sub. So yeah, that cleaned it up to start off with. But then I got the drums. When I get the drums in the mix, that's when I use this EQ to push more frequencies into the clipper. So I could bring this sound out and have it like stand up against the drums and balance it. So as you can see, what I've done is I've pushed up the like 8 to 10K region by like 10 dB. And then I've also pushed back up the sort of 300 hertz region by 4 dB. As you can see, I'm not putting these in exactly on the point because that would be too much. So I'm just like letting it hit this slope here. And then as the frequencies move throughout the notes, it's going to get a nicer sort of range of gain on this sort of slope. And I'm also pushing up the low end by like another 3 dB with a broad stroke and more of a tighter Q on this sort of bell here, around about 46 hertz. So that's what helped it stand out in the mix essentially, because if I take that off, it didn't have the sort of saturation and frequencies that I wanted it to when I got it layered up with the drums. And then finally after that, I'm just going to use Shaper Box to put a side chain on it. So every time the kick hits, it's just going to dip there. So that's everything I've done for the post-processing. And the post-processing for the variation is pretty much the same, except I have done like a different sub balance a little bit. I think the sub was a bit too much. So if we have a quick little look here, I think I just turned this sub down. I've actually set it to A1. So I didn't feel like this variation needed as much of the E frequency. It needed more of the higher frequencies boosted in terms of the sub region. But let's just have a look how it's made in Serum. So what I've done is I turned the octaves up to +7 on the second oscillator, and I've opened up. So if we have a listen to what this sounds like in context. And yeah, that's just been done with turning up the semitones by +7 and opening up this shape here, because it was like this before, which sounds good too. That's a nice variation, but you get this sort of like more prolonged slide to the signal at the start by doing this. So yeah, that's how this variation's made. And obviously you can mess around with the different semitones to get different pitches. You could probably change these shapes up here. You could do different rates. You could do something like this maybe. So yeah, you know, there's loads of different options. You can go here, you could add different stereo effects, you could add ascend effects and get some more distortion on it and create some upper harmonics. But yeah, I think that's everything I wanted to go over. So yeah, if you like the video, hit the like button. If you want to see more like this, subscribe. I'll be getting a few more up this month. And if you want to support me, head over to Patreon. There's loads of exclusive tracks, production videos, the presets, and sample packs.